Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something slightly different. I'm going to go in and refresh the roots on this client's color. It's been about 6 months since she's had her color refresh, and she's been doing some things at home to refresh her grays herself. So today we're going to go ahead with the permanent color, of course, and even out her color tone as well as refresh her roots. Now, her primary reason for coloring is to cover her grays. She has a few grays up front. If I had to estimate, I would say she's about 20 to 30% gray. Most of it is concentrated in the front area, so that's what we're going to be doing, is covering that up. We're using like a level 6 and 7, so we don't need to use any type of bleach or anything like that. It's going to cover nicely, and then it's also going to lift up her darker hairs enough to where it should blend in with the gray hairs. Well, the colored gray hairs. So as I always do, what I talked through earlier is you want to make sure that the hair is completely blown out if it needs to be. If it's in this curly state, I like to put color on when the hair is straight, because it makes it easier for you to go through the hair and part it, and you can go through it quicker. So I always make sure the hair is nicely detangled. So I did I did blow dry her hair out to make sure it was free of tangles. So as you can see, I always like to section off the hair. From ever since I went to hair school, that was one of the biggest lessons that I still try to live by when I'm doing hair, because it makes it easier, and then you can see where you're at and see where you're going. So I always section the hair off into 4 quadrants. I just like doing it that way. In cases where the hair is thinner, of course, you may not need 4 sections, but when it's thick, I want to make sure that I get every area saturated. So I'm applying my mixture to, I'm leaving just a tad on her root available for me to go back at the end, because you don't want to get in a hot root situation. This is only going to lift up so far. So once I apply the heat to it, I shouldn't get any hot roots, because it should all lighten up at the same level and end up being the same level. So the back of her hair is a little denser, and it also has less gray. So what I pretty much am going to do is make sure I saturate it right now. Now, usually I'll do the whole head, leaving a little bit at the root to go back and recolor. But because, like I said, her hair is denser, thicker at the back, and it has less gray, I'm going to go ahead and take it down to the roots now so that it can be processing well. The front has more gray, so those gray hairs are going to color very easily. And with the heat source that I'm going to put on, which is the blow dryer, the hooded dryer, it's going to make the top process a lot quicker anyway. So it should have caught up with the back by the time, we get it all applied and get her under there. So now I'm going to go in at the front and do the same thing. I'm going to get pretty close. Again, I'm not really too concerned about hot roots. If you're using a different type of color, or if you happen to be using bleach for, whatever reason, then you want to make sure you stay off of those roots in the beginning and do that last at the end, because you will definitely give yourself lighter roots at the base, and then the hair strand will be darker. So you'll be able to tell that you pretty much didn't process your color right. So what I'm doing now is I went ahead and added some developer to the little bit of color that was left in the bowl. And when I say a little bit, it literally was just some splatters on the wall of the bowl. So not very much at all. And then I added some 40 volume developer to saturate her ends. What I'm trying to achieve here is more lift than deposit. So the developer is going to lift it up just a little bit. If you know about color theory, then you know that color on top of color is going to make it a little darker. So I'm going to make sure that I use something lighter to achieve what I'm trying to do, because I want the roots to match the ends. So I'm going to make sure that I put saturate around the hairline, in front of the hairline, to catch any hairs that you may miss, and then put a plastic cap on. I also want to make sure I clean up my client really well. So I like to get some of the stain off of her ear. You can use color remover. I like to use alcohol sometimes, just whatever you feel comfortable with. And I'm going to remove any excess color and then put some cotton behind her ear so that she doesn't catch a stain while she's sitting under the dryer. This is what the color is going to look like after it has been fully applied and has been on her hair for about 35 minutes. I let it sit on for 35 minutes, but please use the instructions of the color that you're using, and they'll tell you how long to let it sit on. So after that, we just pretty much use some good shampoo and conditioner. I like to use the color protector from Joico. I get pretty good results from Joico. So you want to make sure you're using a good shampoo and conditioner that promotes health with color, and you'll get a better results on your clients. So I pretty much just use just a little bit of Kimra blowout spray before I get ready to blow dry her hair. I always start at the ends. Always start at the ends of the hair. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're combing it out, blowing it out, detangling, whatever it is that you're doing, always start at the ends of the hair. And if the blow dryer does not glide through like this, and I use a comb attachment, some people use the brush, either way. But if the blow dryer is not gliding through, or the brush, if you're using that method, does not glide through, you need to stop, detangle the section of hair that you're on to make sure that you're not forcing breakage and forcing your way through tangles. So that's something that's very important, because sometimes you can wash the hair or shampoo the hair and then it's not fully detangled by the time you get ready to do this, and you will break unnecessary hair by going straight in with the blow dryer. So you want to make sure you always start at the ends of your hair. Always start at the ends of your hair and detangle on your way up, and you will have a much better blowout experience. There's nothing really special about what I'm doing here. I do the same thing in every video, and I'm just going to make sure everything is nice and blown out. I do like to sit my client under the dryer for a couple of minutes just to make sure that everything is nice and dry on the root area. And yeah, so it must have not been as dry as I wanted it around her nape, so that's probably why I used the blow dryer. Oh no, we're going to the hooded dryer now. Sorry. So now we're back from the hooded dryer, and her roots are nice and dry. I got her a fresh clean cape to make sure that she is dry. You don't want the back of the shirt to be wet or whatever you're going to blow dry on. So you want to get those towels out of the way, get the vinyl cape out of the way, so that you don't have any moisture when you get ready to flat iron the hair. Or what's going to happen, it's going to revert immediately if the back of the shirt is wet. So make sure you pay attention to that. And when they get ready to leave, if their hair hangs on their shoulders, make sure their shirt is not wet. So as always, I start at the nape, and I'm going to just do a really close flat iron going up the back of her nape so I can get all of those little hairs, and I get as close as possible. I really love this flat iron, but it's ceramic and it's not titanium, so I can only use it for certain things. I'll probably make a video about flat irons later, but right now I'm just going to say that this is a temporary iron that I'm using by Babyliss. Some people call it Baby Bliss, whatever you want to call it. But this was a special edition that they put out, and I see why they put it out special edition, because yeah, it's basically falling apart already, and I've only used it on like 8 people. So my Old Faithful went out, and I just have been on the hunt to find a good flat iron lately, and it just hasn't been working out for me. So anyway, I'm using a combination of two. That's why you'll see me switch between the two, because I like the other Babyliss, the black one, for the root, and I like this Babyliss for the length of the hair. So those are the two irons that I'm using. I don't feel the need to put them in the description box because they're really just like my temporary irons for right now, and I'm making it work. But when I find me a good iron that I can use for the length of the hair as well as the root, and it's not going to burn my client, then I'll reinvest. I feel like I'm always buying a flat iron. So anyways, this is nothing different. I'm just going through the hair. Again, I usually use one iron to do the whole thing, and it doesn't take that long. But switching between the two takes a little more time, so you just want to make sure that you get all the way up to the top of the hair. She is wearing a middle part today, so I think, no, she's wearing a side part, sorry. So her part was already in her hair after we did the blow dryer, so it was a little bit easier. And yeah, so this is where we're at. This is the end. Now you'll see me use my carbon comb, which causes some static, and I don't know why, but it does. So I'm gonna switch to a bigger comb just so I don't have that little static. She did a trim the last time she did a silk press, which has been maybe a couple of months ago. I don't even think it was that long, because I was fussing at her about limiting her silk presses, because yes, you can only get one every so often if you want to maintain your curl pattern. So this is the finished product. You can see that her ends match her roots very well. I'm sorry that it's cut off just a little bit at the top, but you can see that everything matches really good. She opted for just a bone straight this time, which I'm not particularly a fan of. I like when I do curls, but we both decided to do something different. So that's pretty much it, guys. I appreciate you for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe and like and share, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.